Today we are going to make our underwater octopus. I am going to start by writing my name on the back of my paper. I'm going to flip it over and make sure it is placed on top of my placemat. I'm going to use my cup to stamp white circles across my black paper. These are going to be the bubbles for creating some rhythm in our artwork. Remember, rhythm is like a visual beat. It's not necessarily a pattern. It kind of looks like it's a pattern, but it doesn't actually follow a formal pattern, such as A, B, A, B. It just is more irregular and more random across your paper. Now you want to make sure that your bubbles are not touching each other. You want to have them next to each other. Do not overlap your bubbles. That looks good. Now be careful you don't touch the bubbles either. You don't want them touching. They can stick off the edge of the paper. Once you have covered your whole paper with the bubbles, you are ready to move on to the next step. Now that I've stamped the bubbles across my paper, I'm going to put this on the drying rack, and I'm going to get my other piece of paper, my purple piece of paper, and I'm going to get my bubble wrap. Now make sure the bubbles are facing up. You want to make sure they're facing up so that way the pattern, the texture shows. I'm going to use my tray, set my cup to the side. I'm going to add some paint to my tray. I'm going to choose a couple of different colors that I want to use. Now this piece of paper is going to be used for making the octopus, so make sure you're choosing the colors that you want for your octopus. I'm going to carefully roll the paint onto the bubble wrap. You want to cover the entire piece of bubble wrap with paint. Make sure you're doing it evenly. Try to keep it on top of your placemat so the table does not get dirty. Sometimes the colors will mix a little bit, and sometimes they'll stay separate. Maybe having a little bit of both will look good. I want a little bit of that purple to show, a little bit of the pink, a little bit of the red, a little bit of the white. So I'm going to try not to mix it all together too much, so that way I can see the different colors in my final print. I am going to set my roller to the side. I'm going to get my piece of purple paper, and very carefully I'm going to place it on top of the bubble wrap. With two hands, I'm going to press and rub the paper so that way the pattern shows up on the other side of the paper. Press firmly. Oops, I forgot to write my name. Make sure you write your name on your piece of paper. You probably want to do this before you start printing, so make sure you put your name on it. Okay, that looks good. I just have to make sure I get all the spots, don't miss anything. Now, it's not going to cover the whole piece of paper, so you're going to have to do it again. I'm going to peel this up, set it to the side. That looks good. Okay, so I missed a half of my paper, so I'm going to roll the paint again onto the bubble wrap, making sure to cover the whole thing with paint on the bubble wrap. That looks good. Make sure I get a little bit more of that purple on there. Cover the whole piece of bubble wrap with the paint. Please remember that we are not popping the bubbles. These bubbles are not for making noises. These bubbles are for printing, for making art. And I'm going to set my paper on the other half right there. That looks good. Press with your hands. Make sure to get the edges and the corners. That looks good. It's going to overlap a little bit on the other side, but that's okay. Let's see, that looks pretty good. Let's peel it up, see what it looks like. Oh yeah, that looks nice. And I'm going to clean up all my materials, put my picture on the drying rack, and I'm done for today.